again, everyone. It's Shel from Paper Octio Studio, and I'm bringing you another NaNoJouMo page for November 17th, and the theme today is butterflies. Right now, you see me flipping through my journal, trying to find a page. This is my jelly print journal that I've been working in this whole challenge, and I just thought you might want to see it again, see how it's filling out. I made this out of jelly prints sewn into signatures inside of a small cereal box. It was a granola, and I covered that outside with jelly prints too. So trying to narrow it down. This one, this one, this one. Okay. No, this one. You know, decisions. Now I'm putting my deli paper in to protect the pages. The one side has my leaves page on it, and I really want to protect that one, so got to get that fixed up. I have an idea of what I want to do. I have a roll of tissue paper that has lots of nice things about happiness on it, and there's a nice quote on there I want to use, and I also like just the graphic look of the text. This is Hazel and Ruby tissue paper. Comes in a roll at Michael's if you need to get something like that. They also have one that has music notes on it, which is nice. And I'm going to be putting a lot of layers of collage on this today, so I decide to start out with my golden heavy, or is it medium matte gel? Anyway, it's a gel instead of a liquid, and it helps to adhere my bottom layer of tissue paper. Although I'm having a little bit of trouble with the tissue paper wanting to fold up there, but I'm using my old nasty glue brush that I use for all my collaging. It's really wrecked, so it works good for this. I don't want to ruin one of my nice brushes. So I'm just applying different strips. I'm tearing them up. I don't want any of the larger print. I'm just going for the smaller prints. There's some that look like typewriter, and there's some that look more like a computer block print. And they all say nice things, but my point is not that you're going to be reading it. It's just to give texture and dimension and visual interest to the background. The original background actually has branches on it from a stencil. I believe that's a Crafter's Workshop stencil, which almost has kind of a spooky look, but that, I'm covering it up. It's really not going to look spooky at the end. So I'm gluing these on, yeah. Maybe I should speed this up. I don't know. We'll see. That is a little piece of washi tape, which I had stuck to my shelf. It's from a package that somebody sent me. I always peel the washi tape off my packages. It has very low tack, so it doesn't get ruined if you try to peel it off. But the low tack also, you need to put some type of glue with it to keep it on your page. So you saw me put a little bit of the medium over the top of it. Oh, one more little piece I decide. Teeny tiny piece down at the bottom just has to go on there. All right, good. Okay, so I've got my text background. The next thing I'm going to do is apply some white gesso using my 2-inch soft rubber speedball brayer. This is going to make everything more uniform in the background. Wow, lots of white there. Whoops. Um, that first one was a little bit too white, but I did blend it in with my brayer some more. I don't want you to be reading the text or your eye to be drawn to the text in the background. It's purely for graphical and visual interest. So I just want to make everything a little bit more monotone because I'm going to be putting other stuff on the top of this layer. And I have some little leftover bits there that I'm trimming off just for fun, also to keep it from sticking. Oh, that one's not stuck down. A little bit more gel medium under there. Okay, pretty happy with that. I think I'm probably going to dry it now. And out comes the heat tool and bam, it goes away. Magic of the internet. Okay, this is some leftover paper napkin butterflies. And I use these on another project that there's a video on. It's my Dia de los Muertos tray. And I cut all these out while I was watching television. It was a big napkin that just had butterflies all over it. And I trimmed them out. And then I didn't use them all. So I just folded them into that little piece of deli paper to keep for later. And now I'm using them because today's butterflies. I'm now using a liquid matte medium because these are very thin and fragile. When you use a paper napkin, I mean there's a ton of awesome paper napkins out there with all kinds of pretty designs. When you use one, you need to remove the ply on the underneath. You can separate it into 2 or sometimes with the really expensive napkins 3 different pieces. And you should save those extra pieces because you can jelly print on them. They're just usually just plain white. Sometimes they might have a little ghost of a shadow of the print, but usually it's just plain white. And you can use them for sprays when you're using your ink sprays. They're great. So I have a whole stack of them that I need to use up sometime soon. My friends and I, some of the ones that are doing the videos along with me, have just recently done a napkin swap, and that was great. I got so many fantastic napkins, and I think some are still coming. And I just have this amazing collection now of all these different beautiful napkins. And I just like to spread them out and look at them. They're beautiful. So this isn't one of them. This is actually one that I bought, but this was before the swap. But they're certainly useful. You can use them on cards and on wooden trays and on lampshades and whatever you want. Just put them on there with a little bit of something to glue them down. Matte medium, glossy medium, satin medium, Mod Podge, whatever you want. And they look beautiful. So I'm done with that. Still trimming a little bit of stuff. And I guess I already did the drying. That was fast. Oh, and this is the quote I was talking about. This is actually from the Hazel and Ruby tissue paper. And I think it's a nice quote, and I wanted to use it. I thought this page should be about happiness because butterflies just make me happy. When I see them outside, I'm like, oh, look, a butterfly. They're so awesome. I love seeing them flying around outside. And we have them a lot of the year because I live in Arizona, so it doesn't get super cold. Of course, you have to have flowers in order to attract them. So I cut the quote in 2 different pieces, and I'm going to lay them out that way. And I've got some more liquid matte medium that I'm putting them on with. And my nasty brush. Can't forget my nasty brush. That poor thing. I'm sure it was an expensive, nice brush at one point. And I bet there's more drawing coming up. Yep, there it is. And it's gone. I think that was a really long drawing that I really wanted to make sure everything was dry before I started using pens, which is my next step. Because if you have wet matte medium on your page and you stick your pen in it, it ruins the pen nib. That's not cool. So I'm starting out thinking I'm going to use my white fine tip Posca pen, which is almost out of paint. And that was my original idea, was to go around the butterflies with the white, but I didn't like it. So I switched to my Faber Castell Pitt brush pens. And these are the ones that have the India ink, the permanent India ink inside. And I addition a purple one thinking I might want to do purple shadows, but then I changed my mind and I end up with a charcoal color pen. And since this has a non-porous surface, a medium, the glue obviously all over it, you have a few seconds in which you can blend that ink before it dries. Once it's dry, it's done, it's permanent. But if you get it while it's still a little bit wet, you can blend it with your finger. I actually learned this from Vicky, I think it's Papano, something like that. She has videos, she's very popular, and I learned this technique from her videos. And I like it. It's a good way to add shadows around things and give a little bit more dimension. So I do that around all the butterflies, every single one. It really didn't take that long. It looks like it does, but it really didn't. Of course, this is in double time, so it looks even faster. It'd be nice if I could really do it that fast. Next, I come back in with that fine tip white Posca, and I'm just adding highlights and dots and squiggles and things like that to the butterflies, because all that, the napkin is translucent, and so some of what is underneath it, which is the text and then the paint and the branches and everything that was on the page, is somewhat showing through, and so it makes the whites of what would have been very white on the napkin kind of dull. So I just like to put a little bit of extra white on the top for highlights. Sometimes I really go crazy and doodle, but right now I'm just adding dots and lines and little just squigglies or whatever. I could really doodle all day. I really could. Okay, that's done. And now I'm deciding what I should do about the words, because of course that's on tissue paper too, and it also has print in the background. So the heavier print, which I thought would really show over this, isn't showing that much. So I decide to get out a pink Faber Castell Pitt pen and just go over the letters. I'm not being fussy about it. I'm just going over them and then kind of smearing just to add a little color, hoping that will help the quote stand out from everything else. A possibility which would have been that I should have put the quote on something white or other color before I put it on the page, and that would have helped a lot with it standing out, because it's getting a little bit lost in there. So then I think, well, maybe I'll put a black box around the quote, and that might help. So I get out my little straight edge and my Posca pen and just go around with that. I could have just done it freehand, but I was thinking a couple of my last pages that I've done have had crooked things. You don't notice when you're in the moment and you're creating something, you don't notice it's crooked. And then you look at it later and you're like, that's crooked. Oh my gosh. That was my white Posca pen, and I just went over the black lines with little white squiggles. And then this last bit is one of my other Posca pins from the colored set. And if you shake them up and then just kind of flick them, they will make splatters for you. Just comes out and splatters right onto your page. So those are pink splatters. And that's my final thing. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, of course, like, subscribe, share, comment, all those things. And I would love to hear from you. Thanks. Bye-bye.